Welcome to Bogside Chats, where we're talking everything DeFi Kingdoms and keeping it casual. My name is Matty Pesk. Tonight, I am joined by supposedly Franz and Guy Kid, but right now it's just Franz. Franz, how are we doing?
Supposedly, we're doing pretty good. Just finished season 3 of The Witcher, and started
really?
the first episode of Blood Origin.
Okay.
The prequel. Yeah, I expected better from The Witcher season 3 after the first few episodes.
Right.
I was very excited going into that halfway point where they didn't release all of them, and then it just kind of, I don't know.
I watched the first season and never really followed it, but I did see some of the controversy about how they were mad Henry Cavill.
Well, let's not spoil anything.
No, but they were saying he was like a stickler for the original stuff. Like he wanted the show to be very accurate, and the producers were like didn't give a shit about that.
Yeah, well, he's gone now.
I know.
I believe the new one, is it Liam Hemsworth? Liam Hemsworth?
No, really? The younger one?
Uh-huh.
That's good.
The younger what?
Helmsworth?
Liam Hemsworth. He was he's been, what was he, Thor?
No, that's Chris Helmsworth. That's younger one.
I can't keep them all straight. It's a Hemsworth.
Yeah. There's a third Helmsworth too, I think.
Is that like a Manning situation where
it is. Oh no, he's an actor too. Anyways, this is very off topic. We're pretty excited. We're going to talk about some DFK updates. They dropped the Bazaar, which is exciting. Big for them, big for the team and for the game in general. We got potentially some combat speculation, and then we're going to talk about Dragon's Crossing, which season 2 closes out tomorrow, technically. I think I might have said the wrong thing in a tweet or something of like, I thought it was over earlier, but.
Well, we should find out the actual end time because
it's definitely
totally
tomorrow.
Sure.
I
thought it was like tomorrow at like 8 Eastern.
Okay.
I don't know though.
That. It's at some point tomorrow.
We need Guy here. He's usually
good with stuff like that.
Looks stuff up for us.
Hopefully he's joining in. I don't know where he's actually.
People are asking.
I know. He said he would be here, and we've been texting him, so I'm sure he'll jump in a little bit.
We've lost contact. He could be anywhere.
Yeah,
so.
He's no, he'll be.
Anyway, that DeFi Kingdoms game. What's going on with that stuff, Matty?
Yeah, DeFi Kingdoms. They released the Bazaar, which is an order book style exchange.
A long-awaited Bazaar.
Yeah, where you can put up any in-game tokens in exchange for a jewel. I usually have Guy do the background here. That's why it's just the two of our faces right now.
I mean, I could throw up something.
Yeah, just poke around on the Bazaar. Liam is the youngest of the Helmsworth brothers. Interesting.
Okay.
There is a third one, though, right? Anyways.
Yeah, can we get a timeline for the Hemsworths here? Should we pull that up on the screen?
It's true. Yeah. Can we get a Helmsworth chart? But it allows you to buy things that typically don't have a lot of liquidity in the dexes. Oh, man. Yeah, I feel bad for the third brother.
Yeah, he's not as good looking.
No, yeah. Just like objectively. It's objective, yeah.
He's shorter, too.
Yeah.
He got all the bad genes. All right.
I'm sure he's doing okay. Anyways.
Back to DeFi Kingdoms.
And so far, launch seemed to go smoothly. They did have some bugs they had to. I think it's only in Crystal Vale. Yeah. They had some bugs that looks like they squashed pretty quick. They had like an announcement
Squashing
yesterday.
bugs.
Yeah. Zippers on that stuff. So
is that we're just giving him all the credit? Or you know
I'm
that? Or
I'm fine with that. I'm sure the team would be okay with me giving them credit to him.
Yeah.
But it's giving you access to a lot of these stuff that like normally don't have liquidity to like be quickly traded. So it's very cool.
So yeah, just to walk through, and can I zoom more on this? Yeah. Yes. That's pretty good, right?
Yeah.
So I typed in lesser atonement crystals. Highly sought after. Not a lot of people have them. They're very scarce. Like if you find someone that's selling one, you gotta take it. But now you can get it all here. these are the cells. So people have listed them at 47.5. There are 8 of them.
Yeah.
49 Jewel. There are 4 of them. And then I think this is the best price on here. These 28. I don't know who listed them, but whoever did that, you might want his crystals.
I was gonna say
that those are mine.
The lesser. Oh, those are yours. Oh, very good.
Did you not?
Yeah, that's good.
We took some time off. We're not synced up.
Yeah. That's the one that gives bonus hit points, right?
It does, yes.
Yeah, that's a cool one.
And then there are people who I don't know are hoping
those are joke. Those are joke. No one's gonna.
Well, I don't. Yeah, I agree with what you're saying, but like I don't think it's actually a joke. I think it's the idea that someone might fat finger something.
Right.
Because anything below 2.5 and it'll scoop up. Like that's I don't know what order this goes in. I would assume I don't know, but
yeah,
it doesn't have to be 2.5 in the dot. So.
Well, and that's if somebody like market order sells, right?
Yeah, if you
hypothetically
if you hit sell here and quantity, say I put 50, I don't have them, and then price per unit. If I'm trying to put 50 and I hit 0.5 by accident,
right,
it'll list all 50 of those and it'll get bought up by all these orders.
Yeah. So it's interesting. I think I'll say for me personally, now that this is kind of like available, especially like greater stones, I think being the biggest one, I'm definitely more inclined to do what you did, a couple months back with the archer and like create like the ultimate min-maxed character now, because it's much easier to get those greater stones or those greater.
Let's see what they're going for.
Crystals.
I mean,
even whatever the price is.
Was it ever? I would say if you're speaking for the general community as a whole, I agree. But like, again, I think I've said this before. Like, we know people. Like, there are a handful of people you can message if you need those.
Mm-hmm.
What was I doing? Greater? What are they? Finesse?
Yeah, finesse or any of them.
So yeah, their sells for 15 jewel. How many crystal is 15 jewel?
I don't know. A couple hundred.
Go to the decks here.
Not that much.
See, the deck still serves a purpose.
Well, and that's my other question here is like ARB opportunities.
That's 164 crystal. That's actually really good.
Yeah.
I was paying for crystals. I don't know. But that seems like a reasonable price.
I agree. For the greater one, I feel like most people were putting them up for 200 on the like, degen dungeon and stuff like that,
Mm-hmm.
Or especially like the vigor ones probably got up to 250, the greater vigor.
Yeah, I mean, you were strength, I'm sure as well. The might, but you were paying for that scarcity, right? Because if I did message O'Cool, say, and he said no, I don't have any. I messaged Tad, he says no, I don't have any. Now I'm getting more and more desperate because there are only so many more people that I know that would have
right.
Yeah, all listed here.
Yeah.
Rooms. So I'd like to see. So it looks like there are quite a few cells on here, and it takes it out of your wallet when you sell it, when you list it, right?
When you list it,
it's storing it in a contract somewhere. Yeah, it's interesting that. What's the liquidity like? Have we gotten liquidity pulled from the trader?
That's a good question.
Like, so if I want to buy 10 of these, what am I looking at? Yeah. I think that's just the weird bug where you have to do it a second time. Clicking around, I'm used to this. Guide drives.
I know, he's usually All
right, so if I'm looking to buy 10 in Jewel. All right, so 1.41 if I want to buy 100. I don't know what it was previously, so this is bad. I shouldn't have gone down that path.
Interesting comment here from iOS Code. Bazaar is neat, but I don't know where they're going with it. Wasn't supposed to be. So this is something they've been talking about, of the Bazaar being a kind of like a bridge. Maybe I shouldn't use the word bridge, but like a pathway from other chains to get in to DeFi Kingdoms. And here it's exclusively Jewel, and you kind of have to be on the DFK chain because it's only in Crystal Vale. So I'm sure this is like the first version of it, and like those things are coming? ? Right? I mean,
I don't know if maybe there's some kind of plans in place with Synapse where they're gonna allow this to kind of span multiple chains. That is kind of how they talked about it, but I don't know how that even works. One thing that I'd want to know, and Mel Green Giant or Bob or Sir Worm, maybe one of you know the answer here. How does this affect the price on the decks, right? Like, because the way I'm looking at these, I'm looking at these almost like OTC orders, where they're happening kind of outside the realm of like price movement. Like if there are a bunch of buys on the bazaar, it's not going to change the actual like price of the token as we see it on Deck Screener, correct? You understand what I'm getting at?
No, I think you're 100% right. I think the only actual change would be people doing ARB stuff that then would mess with it if they're pulling from the liquidity to go do something on the bazaar. You know what I mean?
Right. Like, but what's affecting the DEX price then is what they're doing on the DEX side of things.
Right. It's like when they choose to make that move is when. So like technically the trades are probably not affecting it directly. Like,
so it sounds like I'm right in thinking of them as OTC.
I think that's fair, right? I mean,
like the same as someone kind of, just sending it to me sending them the jewel. Hey, guy.
There he is. Welcome.
Sorry, I'm late.
All good.
We let you sit there for a little bit before we.
We do need you to take over the driving though, because we were a mess.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing.
We were Googling the Hemsworths. I mean, we needed you.
What?
Yeah,
what?
Don't worry about it.
The third Hemsworth brother is not. We don't need to get into it.
Yeah.
You can rewatch later.
Moving forward.
We were talking about as you can imagine, we're talking about the bazaar. Guy, what are your thoughts on that?
Someone buy my bloaters.
Okay, and end of that.
I have 1,000 bloaters on there for 1 jewel each.
1 jewel each.
That's insane. No one's going to buy
I'm pretty sure that was the only liquidity as of yesterday. Someone threw 400 in for 0.05.
It's not liquidity.
It's the wrong way to say that.
Liquidity is not the right word.
Yeah.
So
only open order.
On the decks, a bloater is going for, and besides the fact that you would never want to buy a bloater, going for 0.0027 jewel. So they have you beat by a little bit there.
Yeah. But
look at that buy offer. That is insane.
Yeah. Well, I think it's
zoom in a little.
It's so early in the bazaar that you're gonna see this of like there's so few orders in. But it brings us back to it. Remember our early days of ETH that we were looking at like the buy walls and the sell walls?
Sure.
Yeah, that's what this is.
Yeah.
It's the same type of setup. It is very cool. Like I don't think we should overstate the fact that this is groundbreaking. This is awesome. I feel like for these ERC 720 tokens, it doesn't make the most sense, but like it definitely works for the ones that are very scarce. Guy, you were gonna say something.
The first thing I did is I've got greater crystals from a Duelist Rewards pack, and I had a couple greater crystals that sold for 10 jewel. So I was like, why not?
That's great.
Okay. Yeah. Greater chaos, you said?
No, just I think I had a greater fortitude, one of each.
And it sold for 10 jewel, you said?
I want to say it was 10.
That seems very low.
For the crystals? I don't think that's... Yeah.
Wasn't I just looking at...
Sales are at 13 right now.
Oh.
And buys are at 1.3. So
what was it when I was looking at... excuse me. We were looking at Dex, and then I converted to Crystal and was going about that number. Never mind.
Yeah.
Continue. So what do I have? I want to say I have... Oh, it's on my other wallet.
Multi-walleting and the perils that it brings.
Yeah, so you can buy a greater crystal for 14 jewel, or you can sell a greater insight crystal for 9.5 right now.
If you need the money quick, yeah.
Right. So, but I looked at it as like, the way I play DFK, I'm never going to use greater crystals. Like, yeah, maybe I'll get a Leggy Archer like you have, and I'll have one hero that I use greater crystals for. But I do think long term, like the stuff that isn't accessible in game will eventually be accessible in game, and then there will be a price correction at that point.
And they have talked about that in past AMAs. Sounded very speculative, and like Hubert was just answering the question because it was asked, but he was talking about ways of making these more scarce crystals and stones. So it's a valid kind of strategy you have there.
Well, and Guy, that was like the first question I asked Franz about this, of like, are you more likely now that this availability is there to do the thing that like Franz did with the Archer and create the kind of ultimate min-max now that it's kind of like at your fingertips rather than like tracking somebody down, even though it still was pretty easily accessible, just because we're in the community and we know people, but now that you can do it a little bit in-game easier, are you more likely to create that like super Dex Archer or something like that?
I'd say slightly.
Yeah.
Because it is easier to do. But we'll see how my summoning goes. Step 1 is summon the monster, and then you can go for it. And
right.
From there. Or
buy
I guess you could buy the monster. I don't buy any of my heroes, though. You guys know that.
I have not, but like I definitely am much closer to doing something like that. I think, and getting like 2 legendaries of like either both archers or both or doing maybe with the vigor, doing it with like warrior knight combo, and hopefully maybe getting a paladin. But even if you don't, creating a vigor leggy knight who's got huge vitality. I think doing something like that is kind of risky, but I feel like I'm more inclined to do it now that I know I can get greater crystals if I hit,
Not to pivot to like hero summoning and hero creation, but I know many of our friends in chat have said before the greatest heroes in this game do not exist yet.
I mean, that's true. Yeah.
What do you mean friends in chat? We said that.
Yeah.
That's right. Everyone in chat is not a friend. That's true.
How dare you? Everyone in chat is my friend.
I was taking
yeah.
with. The other part of the sentence.
We have said that too. Yeah.
So I'm looking right now. I might be able to do one of these summons tonight.
Ooh. Like one of the like min-maxed thing we were talking about?
Yeah, I mean, now that the Bazaar is out and I can get those crystals and stones very quickly.
Would you do it with a greater stone, you think?
Yeah, no, these are ones that I got at level 1 that are at level 10. I'm just looking because I have 4 thieves and I have to make sure it's like the best of the pairs.
Right.
So maybe fun, not tonight, maybe next week.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
Very cool. Yeah, I think again, I know you said this, Franz, but like shout out to the team. This is really cool technology, and like this is just definitely a huge step up for like gaming, Web3 gaming in general. Nobody else has this right now. So
yeah, definitely. But can I also just one other thing?
Sure, go for it.
I'm glad it's out of the way. Can we make a game now?
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah. No,
it's very cool.
Fair.
Like I'm very excited that it's out and now resources can be put towards other things.
100%. I think this was a priority for them. They hit it. Good for the team for hitting it and like getting it done. Now let's get that combat. I think we all are, saying
yeah,
that.
And I feel like that's 2 different kind of buckets, and I think we've all kind of talked about this. Like I don't think this was delaying gameplay, right. But it was maybe it was maybe delaying other things that are gameplay adjacent,
Well, I think for sure.
And crafting, travel, go on.
I think Hubert was spending some amount of his time, I don't know what that was, on the Bazaar. And I think I sort of like, in my mind, like Hubert is the last sort of check mark for like when anybody gets something done. So if combat has like something good to go, they need to send it to the boss for him to give it a check mark. If he's spending his time on Bazaar, he's not giving it that final okay for them to move on to something.
Sure.
Granted, I have no idea how it actually works and how like the workflow works on it. But if Hubert was spending his time on the Bazaar, now I think, hopefully now he's not doing that anymore. So, who knows?
And as Bob said, I just pulled it up, Yellow Legs.
What about him?
As next.
Oh, right. Sure.
So once that's done, then we can get on to...
Can we talk about that a little bit?
What?
Just the fact there's still huge disparity between gold eggs and yellow eggs.
I mean, shouldn't there be? What do you mean?
Yeah, I mean, gold eggs are special.
Gold eggs are, yeah.
But 5 jewel versus 1.
Yeah. That checks out.
Yeah.
Hold on. What is your thesis here? What is your idea? What are you trying to say?
Are gold eggs going to be that special and that unique?
There are less of them.
The idea is that there's something different with them. We don't know what it is. So, like, I understand speculating that they might be worth more.
With them?
Yeah, they've said that. There's going to be a whole new category of whatever.
Shout out Metal. Geez, I really can't talk. Mellow Green Giant. He had that theory that they're mounts. And I'm buying into that.
I 100%
I'm on the mount train big time.
That's the case. That makes them
associated with travel.
Significantly, or not,
so,
I wouldn't say significantly more important.
2026 is going to be our year if we're stacking those. Like, it's going to be great. Yeah. All right, that's the last shot I'm going to throw. I had my fun.
Yeah. But I mean, I think, Guy, I think the point of like you're so surprised at the difference here is that it's speculative, yes, but also we know they're going to be different, so that's why there's that built-in price difference. It's people speculating.
Yeah, but I feel your pain here. I was saving up some jewels, some gold. I forget what I was saving, but I was saving up a lot of something to buy it. I guess it was gold. We bought them with gold originally.
Right. And gold, had crazy price hikes at certain points. So
yeah, it was more expensive than it is now.
Yeah. All right. Well, we lost Guy. I think he was so ashamed of his egg point that he
I think he was mad at us. Yeah.
Yeah. No, there he is. Good.
Stop talking about me when you know I'm still here.
All right. Any other thoughts on Bazaar? Like I said, props to the team. It's super cool. I love it. Great.
I think it's a missing piece of the overall ecosystem, and I'm excited we have it, and can't wait to check off a couple more things on this roadmap.
I know.
Because the coming next section, everything else is exciting.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. No, it's true.
Yeah, in-game chat. I've been pumped for that for a long time. If that happens,
that could be back burner.
Oh, I know, but I love that idea of messaging people and being like, "Hey, can I buy your hero?" All right. Oh yeah, I want to mention this. We talked about Halliday a lot with when we had Christian Peter on 2 weeks ago. But I also want to give a shout out to the other partnership they announced, and that is Swipelux. I believe I'm pronouncing that right. Swipelux is going to help them sort of with like their blockchain transactions is the best way I can describe it. And what I've read, I really don't know, but what I've read, but basically what they're going to do is anytime that there's like some RNG, so like level ups, summoning, they're going to help it move from 2 different transactions where there's like that little delay in between to 1 transaction, and like insert the like randomness in it. And so that it only requires that 1 transaction and your summons and your level ups will just like pop up with 1 click, which I think is awesome. And I'm super, and then just like shout out to the team. It sounds like this was something like they brought in an outside person to come like make this a streamlined process. I love it. It's hopefully happening soon. They said that it should be put in place pretty soon, but I think it's going to just streamline a lot of, the million clicks that we have to do. Add that to the Halliday account, whatever the word is, account. You know what I mean? What's the word that they use?
The thing with the stuff.
Yeah, and it just means like it's just going to be an easier process, especially for people who aren't in crypto. I think these partnerships are awesome. Keep it up. I don't know. There's not really much discussion points there.
That's you hit it right at the end there. I think there's a lot of interesting partnerships that are really gearing towards onboarding and new user adoption. So I have a feeling there's other shoes to drop soon, which I'm excited for. But these are great partnerships that help just improve the experience for all the players on board.
Yeah. So love it. Shout out to the team. Great job there. Oh, right. I also wanted, if we're doing shout outs, which I guess we are because I'm saying that. Shout out to an interview that I don't know if he goes by Bullish on Bravia or just Bravia. I'll link him somewhere, maybe in the chat. He had he is now casting or streaming. I don't know what word I want to use, but he had Bolon on, and they had a really good interview. I highly recommend everybody go check that out. Bolon was given a lot of his like personal takes on stuff, which was fun. And I wanted to ask you guys one question that came up in that was like kind of tense, not tense, but like they were kind of grilling him. They asked him, the team talks about Jewel all the time as like, hang on to Jewel. It's like the key token for the game and stuff like that. And so then they asked Bolon, why should we be incentivized to hang on to any other game assets other than Jewel? And Bolon gave a decent answer, but I want to pose that to you guys. Are you incentivized, or do you feel incentivized to hang on to any other game assets other than Jewel? And why?
Because once there's a game, there will be utility for all other assets. I am here to play the game, not to farm Jewel.
Okay, I think for me too, it's the same answer of like I'm expecting this to be a fun game to play, and so therefore having the assets to play the game is what I want. But I think right now it is a harder sell to tell people to hang on to all these different assets.
What's missing right now?
The actual gameplay. I mean, we have these quests and stuff like that, and I think it's speculative right now. Owning heroes is like super speculative. So yeah, I was curious on that. Franz, any thoughts?
I feel like I'm being baited into.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Being bearish and and that's not what people want. So no, I don't think there's any incentive to be holding anything other than Jewel right now. I think that when Crystal was first launched, I don't doubt that the team had very good intentions, but they have not followed through to the point where those tokens have any semblance of value. So we as investors have to be, can't be sentimental about that.
Right.
But it does bug me, like I want this to succeed. Obviously, I like the game very much.
Yeah.
And I do think that we're going to get to the point where Crystal has true value, where gold has a value, and the items. I mean, it's easier to see the value, the path to value for the items, right? Because we know about the potions. We know exactly when the potions are going to be useful. With the tokens, it's kind of like, all right, where are they going to stick this in to make it useful, right? It doesn't have that same inherent kind of path. But, I mean, right now, I think Jewel is the token to hold.
Yeah, and I think I agree with that. And I think for me, I'm confident that heroes are going to be are gonna hold their value, because I kind of agree with you. Stuff with the power tokens, it's hard to kind of make an argument there because they just seem to be constantly, slipping and going down in value. But I think heroes, while their prices do kind of change and fluctuate a little bit, I think once we get an actual game, heroes are going to have value. And so I can see, great. I think holding onto heroes, I think is potentially a good move. And Jewel, I don't know if just holding onto other stuff. I don't know.
I like how you said hodling there.
There you go.
Slip that in. I think calling them power tokens is kind of not accurate either. They're really summoning tokens right now. And I mean, I'm sure someone in the chat is going to start listing off the other things you could use them for. There are other things, but that's the main crux of it. So I'm looking at something that Vibe said here. Where is it? I didn't want to leave it on because we're covering Guy, but what market cap will go fastest, Jewel market cap or any random in-game asset? And that's a good question, right? We're saying the answer is hold Jewel.
Well, you could argue
make a
tiers
case for tiers. I mean, health potions are going to be very important once game. You have to be a true believer to go into that though, and you have to be ready for it to take a while. What's the if I go to the alchemist, what's the I'm not sharing anymore, but health potions. So you need some iron root and iron scale. Rock root and iron scale?
Yep.
I mean, you have to be really convicted. Really convicted.
Yeah. And also too, I mean, we've seen
Stampot's doing.
The asset.
They're doing fine. They're around the Jewel.
Is it different from the when you look at the
people that are playing the arbitrage game right now between the decks and I'm sure they're making out good. I
was gonna say,
I haven't.
I'm sure it'll level out very quickly, but the next week or so, I feel like there's got to be moves there you can make.
Yeah, I think it'll be slower to kind of level out. I don't know. How hard will it be to make a bot for this?
Boxside intern?
Our bots, focus on dexes typically, and all dexes are they're all based off Uniswap.
Right.
So I'm assuming it'd be a little more difficult coding some new things for. I'm just rambling now.
For the
I agree. Get my point. We can move on.
I agree with what you're saying for the Bazaar. It goes back to your original thing of it's basically just an OTC. It's basically just people making some random trades, kind of in the ether. For the most part. And so
Stampots are. Sorry.
Go. Go.
Stampots are way down compared to Jewel. I thought they used to be 5 Jewel. Is that right?
Well, Jewel price has gone up.
Well, yeah.
So you got to take that into account.
Yeah, in relation to Jewel though, they're both moving. It's under 1 right now.
Yeah.
So.
Interesting. All right. Sort of on that same topic, Guy, this is something you suggested we talk about, which I like. They changed the formula, the burn formula, for the power for the power tokens and not for Jewel, right? It was just for the power tokens.
Yeah, for the power tokens.
And they did that sort of from the top down. That was the choice they made as a team. They didn't do like an RFC like they did for potentially that summoning question. They just made a choice, and like that's how the power tokens are now burned. There's like different allocations. What are your thoughts? Number one on the change. What are your thoughts? I think it's good because it just means more burning. And they didn't change anything for the people. Like the amount going to the quest fund is the same. But also, what are your thoughts on them making that decision without an RFC and sort of just
it's interesting because we talk about like we want Jewel to have utility. We want it to be a governance token.
Right, yeah.
I do agree that you can't decentralize gameplay, but there's a lot of decisions that can utilize the governance token. I think this burn mechanic would have been a perfect example of that. Because I do think it would have passed with flying colors.
Right. I think it would have been almost unanimous.
I don't think there's
go for it.
Yeah, I don't think there's any counterpoint to it at this point based on everything that's happening with the price action of the crystal and jade tokens. But still, it would be nice to kind of hear a couple counterpoints from the community of does anyone feel strongly on the other side?
Well, and also I think going back to what you're saying, just repeating that, like Jewel's supposed to be governance. There's been zero governance with it so far. I mean, really, they did the vote on the summoning thing. And there's been a couple other votes. I think there was a vote for the garden allocations, right, at some point. But like, why not put this up to a vote with the governance? I think that'd be great. And also, there was some questions in the last AMA asking about going back to that summoning cooldown question and hero question of like, why not just be throwing out more and more RFCs all the time? Like, there's no harm in it. And we do weekly AMAs. I don't think we need a weekly RFC, but like, I mean, let's hear kind of what's important from the community and continue to leverage a lot of the brain power that's out there to see kind of what's important to people and what they're thinking for all these dynamics. I think a weekly RFC is not terribly hard to pull off.
Say that 3 weeks from now.
I know, but like, and it doesn't need to be like earth-shattering changes. It's just, again, they're just RFCs, so it's just like kind of getting the community's point of view. And especially if there was like a link in the game to it or some like, on the bulletin board, there was an announcement to go do it. I think what, there's a whole forum in their like talk site that is like propose RFCs or something like, or I forget how they phrase it, but like, why not the most highly upvoted thing in that one every week or every month? Maybe monthly. Maybe that'll be more sense. The most highly upvoted every month, put that up as an RFC, get to use that Jewel, have some governance actually utilized. I see no harm to that, and it's just more community involvement and like talking.
You don't see harm to that? Well, I guess if they're just RFCs,
right? Yeah.
At the end of the day, the team still has the power to kind of move on what they want.
And I think also too stuff like this, the burning of the power tokens. I think it's not going to impact that much. I mean, hopefully,
look at what it does to the long-term circulating supply of crystal and jade. Like, I don't know what the math is, but there is some kind of timeline now of like at what point does crystal become so deflated that if there actually is significant in-game use of it, like there could be some kind of ramification at that point.
But changing from 5% to 25% of the burn, I mean, I guess you're right. Potentially,
if they originally had a 4-year roadmap, 6-year roadmap, whatever on crystal, does that turn into a 2 or 3 year now based on circulating supply of crystal?
And I think that's a great question. But also, like, if they had an RFC, could this stuff get fleshed out? Talking about it, like, I don't know. And also, I guess I think we all agree, like, changing the gameplay, changing that thieves do more damage with their daggers, from 5% to 15%. No one's going to be mad at that. Changing that from the gameplay standpoint. But like, I am still curious on like, what is the line of what they can change without getting community involvement? I mean, again, I think this burning power tokens is not a huge deal, but like affecting the value of the heroes or about the value of the coins, I think certainly requires the community to or you would hope they would reach out to the community for a decision like that.
I would argue that changing the tokenomics is the hugest deal. That there can't be a more huge deal. Right? I mean, it's something that probably would have passed, and we all like, more burn, better for our tokens that we're holding, right?
Yeah.
But it is a tokenomics change. And they have gotten flack in the past for tokenomics changes, which were voted on.
Mm-hmm.
And we all agreed were needed. But yeah, it's a weird spot. Because anytime, look at the chaos that it caused the last time that they asked for an RFC, right?
Right.
We and a lot of other streamers used it as an opportunity to make content. And didn't that kind of blow the issue a little bit further than maybe it needed to go? It was entertaining for a week or two. We got some good debates out of it. I had fun.
Yeah. Well, and they said, and I think Hubert said in the AMA of like, I wish we had done that differently. In terms of like,
yeah, I bet he did after it was over. I really wish we did that differently.
Of like,
I hate all of you. Sorry.
No, but like, I think he wanted to maybe put up more information than what the RFC actually did. It kind of was very static, kind of like yes or no, end all be all, and people were maybe that wasn't where the team was at, but that's how it was presented. And I think people, thought certain things there. So I think they learned from it, and will, if they do it again in the future, hopefully it won't be, I don't know, as controversial. I don't know. But yeah, I think that's fair, actually, saying like tokenomics is probably the biggest. If you're touching the tokenomics, you should be talking to the team or the community. Sorry. So
yeah, Bob makes a good point, though. It is solely coming from the dev fund that's increasing the burn rate.
Right. Well, and I think again, I think everybody would agree on this change was like a positive one. Like no one's upset about this one, but I think Franz is right in terms of like when you need to reach out to the community. It's when you're touching the tokenomics. Same thing with like the value of the heroes, like with summoning cooldown. Like you need to talk to the community on that. So,
yeah, inherent changes to the way things are kind of happening.
Yeah. All right, I that's good. I'm very curious. I don't think that question has an answer of like what's that line, but I do love talking about it. All right, Guy, you had some other stuff before we jump to. Oh, right. You want to talk about some weapon stuff?
Weapon stuff? Is that how
hero weapons
we're getting on my agenda topics?
Yeah. So I asked a question in the last AMA. To try and get Second Best Dad to come out, which he did. I was very glad to hear from him. Because of this recent art change, there was one class specifically where the weapon changed completely, and that was Pirate. Pirate used to have a gun, and in this art change, he now has a sword, a kind of like curved sword.
A cutlass, if you will.
Cutlass, if you will. Oh, great.
That is good.
Well, Hubert said that word for word, so that's fine. But keep going.
We're gonna give
you said it. Guy said it. Yeah. And also some interesting things that we saw with the combat update was that, Dragoon and Legionnaire both have a range of 2 with their basic attack, and it seems like they're wielding longer spears or what have you. I don't know how you want to describe what their weapons are. Pole arms.
Spear, I think, is
probably better. Yeah.
Yeah.
But specifically, I love the idea that the Dragoon has a 2-handed weapon, and the Legionnaire has a 1-handed. On his other hand, is holding a shield. And so if you go to the equipment page, Guy, like when you click on like as if you were gonna add So there's going to be a main weapon slot and then an offhand, which unclear on how that works. And then there's an armor slot and then the amulet or like jewelry slot. But you are going to have those 2 different slots for weapons. And I think obviously like crafting and stuff like that is like way down the line. I don't think we're going to see crafting anytime soon, but I think they're going to give us what was that referring to?
I don't know. I don't know what he was talking about, but
They're going to give us, I think this is kind of speculation, but I think it's a safe, educated guess here. They're going to give all the heroes kind of a basic weapon based on their class. And I think it's going to be based on the current artwork. I think like Dragoon is going to get a 2-handed spear. Legionnaire is going to get a 1-handed spear. Pirate's going to get that cutlass, so on and so forth. But I think then once we get those items, those default items that every class gets, I think from then on out, we're going to be able to do whatever we want with them, including adding to that second weapon slot for other heroes, taking a weapon from one hero and putting it on another hero. So it's kind of a fun speculative kind of idea to be like, what weapons would you want to move from a certain class to another class to potentially build out, a weird build with one of your heroes. Or any other like ideas you guys have about these like weapons?
Well, you would think stats need to play a role in that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I wouldn't put an archer's bow and arrow on a knight because it's the opposite, kind of stats there. Well, really just dex, but yeah, I could see something like a warrior with higher dex taking a dragoon's weapon. Yeah,
or a legionnaire for that matter, because legionnaire's got pretty decent dex.
Sure,
so I imagine their spear would be.
Yeah, I guess with the spear, I see Legionnaire as more of an endurance, but you're right. Sure. With the spear, we're not talking about the defensive. We're talking about the offensive.
Yeah, could you have like a paladin build that is overstated for wisdom that you end up giving the paladin a fan as like the offhand or something like that? And there's definitely, I think there's going to be opportunities.
I think that's a good one.
For like unique builds like that.
I think that'd be cool.
Seems like a stretch, but then you think through it more and it's like, actually could work.
If the equipment procs off of stats, and I think it makes sense for it to, is definite that it's going to? No, but
I don't think that's confirmed, but I think it makes sense. Fair,
Paladin is going to be an interesting one where if you have, a wand of some kind that procs mostly off of wisdom, not really intelligence, you're gonna be stat aligned for it.
Well, I think that's interesting. Priest, I believe Priest is 80% wisdom, 70% intelligence. So like, it would make sense that a priest, I think they have like a staff that is maybe a little bit, gives a little bit of boost to the wisdom side of it. Potentially giving a paladin a priest staff would be interesting. I also just really like this idea that like the weapons are not going to be fancy. They're all going to be kind of like basic for whatever, but like we're going to have carte blanche at like mixing and matching them. I think that would be a lot of fun.
Are we? So that was one of the questions I wanted to pose. Do you think you can throw this 2-handed axe on any single hero? Or
I don't know. I think they might
have the ability to only wield certain weapons.
I think the weapons, going back to Franz's point, I think it's going to be stat based. So I feel like a berserker 2-handed axe is going to have a strength minimum. That's not going to be very impressive, but probably like 12, whereas like those caster classes are not going to ever touch that for a while. Maybe not for a while, but like, you know what I mean? Like it's going to be hard. And so it's not going to be that like they can't ever use it, but it's going to be difficult. You would have to have a very specific wizard, a buffed out wizard who has like the strength boosts.
It's level 13 seer has 17 strength.
I mean, I don't think it would be ideal, but I think it's going to be, you're going to be able to do it.
You think weapons will boost stats, but there will also be stat gate to be able to wield it.
Yes, that's how I hope it works, and I think that makes sense.
That makes sense, yeah.
Especially like for like the wands and the rods and the staves for all the casters, you're going to have intelligence and/or wisdom at certain levels to be able to use those, which especially makes those tweener, ninja, bard classes like really interesting. Can they use? They could probably use either.
Well, yeah. Look at the monks and the goons.
Right.
Theoretically, go any type of build.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a dragoon with a wizard staff would be wild.
If it works stat wise, but at the end of the day, what we're comparing is not just it's not, will this be good on a dragoon? It's will this be better than a melee type weapon on a dragoon?
Right.
And that's where I don't know. Like it's
sure.
Do you think it would be better if that is the case, if you can pick up a wand and if your stats are good, you can use it, or should Dragoons always kind of lean towards home base, so to speak?
I think it's a very fair point. And I think key thing is going back to what we started with was looking at the equipment slot. There is that secondary option that hypothetically you can have your main melee weapon in the first slot and then have the backup be a wand. If like mid battle you need to make a shift for some reason, you know, you need to change gears. Perhaps it boosts if it boosts off your wisdom and you have a subclass that has some healing. Maybe you would want to switch gears at that point.
Is this one of your heroes, by the way?
No, this is a level 6 Gen 0.
No, but I think there's also something to be said for, and I think it was Guy that was comparing this to World of Warcraft a few episodes ago, but the idea that it's more fun when these heroes kind of stick towards their archetype.
Sure.
You know, when...
And that was one of the most interesting things Hubert said. I don't know if it was last week or 2 weeks ago, where he said, I don't want every hero to be able to do everything.
Sure.
I want like every hero to have its own flavor and to have its own things that it concentrates on.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like you definitely don't want all these generalists. And that's what happened to like vanilla WoW versus current day WoW versus original WoW.
Vanilla WoW throwing shots.
Yeah. It's you know, it's become watered down because they don't want anyone to feel quote unquote left out. So you can heal with your paladin and whatnot.
I think our community struggles with that sometimes, based on some comments you see on the talk site. People want everything to be happy-go-lucky and fluffy.
Right.
I don't.
I want it to be mean and sharp.
And you know, sometimes that plays against you, but
yeah,
I mean that's a game. You know, if there's,
I agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think too. I think it's hard because there's motion.
I think this is a different conversation than like the mismatch of weapons, though. Of like, if you can find a hero to create a unique build that your hero is like the only wizard that actually will be a good match for like an agi based dagger or whatever, like fantastic.
Yeah. But it's tough because there's emotion attached to it because these are NFTs that have value and like you own them. So like the idea of someone telling you like, hey, your property is not actually going to be good at combat. It's only good at foraging, you know, like that's upsetting because you want it to be good at everything because you own it. And there's that attachment, that bias. And I think people gotta, you know, that's going to be the beauty of, you know, I think if the system works the way it will, I think it's going to be beautiful of like, yeah, there's going to be winners and losers, you know, it's going to be a PvP. So yeah, I'm with you, friends, there on some of that. I want it to have stakes, you know?
Right.
So, yeah, it's interesting. I think I'm excited for them to because I think they're just going to straight give us the weapons. Like every hero gets a basic weapon, and I think that's going to be just fun because this is going to be a new level of like messing around with like what you attach to who, to whom.
Sure.
Is that fun or is that?
For me, that's fine. It's more speculative, you know. Like, what can I do?
That's when we were talking about, oh, it's going to be so much fun attaching all of these things to all these heroes. No, I hope they come pre-attached.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be more fun once crafting is out, once they, you know, get to that, and once we have a weapon economy.
Yeah.
Just having a weapon or not having a weapon, if everyone's the same, doesn't really matter, you know?
Well, that will be interesting. And again, this is crazy hypothetical. We don't know how they're going to do it. But if they just give every hero a basic weapon and then those become NFTs that you can buy and sell potentially on the bazaar, I will be curious if people will start stockpiling or I'm sure the value of those will be very low to start because everybody has one. But I think that'll be interesting just to see how the general ecosystem responds to like being given, you know, every thief gets a dagger, you know.
I don't think anyone will be buying and selling those.
Well, I
bet they will.
I wouldn't be surprised if the first ones are sold out. Do they have the ability to make sold bound items? They can, right?
Well, I mean, You can sell the story
Soulbound
pages
to an
now.
account versus Soulbound to a
hero.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like this conversation's run its course. That we're talking about the base level equipment. If we're talking about the fun of this game, we're not talking about the base level equipment.
Right.
We're talking about the next level and the sword of fire, and you know, all these special things.
No, I agree. I don't know. I just wow. Bogside Intern.
The Intern played WoW before.
Does Intern have any heroes still? Or
I
bought one. I bought one from him.
I know, and that's why I'm wondering if he has any left.
I think he has like 2. Didn't he have 2 or 3?
Just saying, he's talking a big game over there about Agi priests. I don't know.
Well, no, he's talking about WoW. He's talking about guys' WoW characters.
No, he's talking about his WoW characters.
Oh, he's more of a Web 2 kind of guy.
He is a Web 2 kind of guy, yeah. All right, I think that's interesting. That's obviously an ongoing conversation. You know, we could literally talk speculation like that forever. But I think unless we had any other notes, I'm checking what you wrote, Guy. I think that's everything we had on DFK.
I got some summons.
Are they ready?
Yeah, I got 6 of them.
I can do one, but you can start.
Yeah, let's see it.
Let me take the screen over here.
I think this is Raph, but I do love.
Yeah, it sounds like Raph.
I played the Unholy one. You knew that.
I knew that.
That was my first WoW character, Shadow Priest.
I knew you did Shadow Priest. You talk about that.
Oh, I thought you said shout out priest. Like
shout out priest.
Right. Just stalling for time here.
I was gonna say, you have control.
Yeah. No,
Very
I was
good.
fumbling around.
Oh, you got a bunch.
Yeah, these are Gen 0 summons.
Oh, let's see them. I love it.
So we're looking for mythics.
Obviously.
I'm still yet to get the perfect, because I have it set up where subclass can mutate and I can get 3 and I can get 3 abilities. I'm yet to get a perfect one. Actually, I think I'm yet to get 2 out of 3.
This guy's gonna sell. This will sell.
With foresight.
Oh yeah, so.
That's solid.
Wait, Seer was our one.
Yes.
That's not the end of the world for a Berserker.
No, it's good.
Staying in the pair.
Sure.
Right? Isn't it Berserker?
I'd like to see. Yes. Guy, do you have access to summoning numbers? Is summoning up, summoning down? Ooh, Bard.
Ooh, there's a Bard.
There's a Bard.
Common.
Foraging Bard.
Foraging we like.
Yeah. Hey, leadership
with double critical aim. That's interesting. That could make for a pretty good spell, though.
Yeah.
Everything you guys see, chat, everything is for sale. DM me an offer.
That's a good hit. I like
and
that.
Not a stingy offer. Be generous.
No bad offers, please.
Summoning's actually up.
Interesting.
Up like
yesterday.
On a month-over-month basis, or like
day over day. On July
hour
1st,
over hour.
On July 1st, we had 546 summons, and then yesterday we had 706.
Wow,
that's a pretty big jump.
Right. I thought you understood what I was asking there, right? I was making sure you didn't mean like, yeah, there were more total today than there were yesterday. Oh, summoner sub.
This is a 10 out of 10 mining. All right.
Yeah, they're all 10 out of 10s except for
the
ones that are 5 out of 5s.
That'll sell. Berserkers sell.
What's the what do we got for 10 out of 10 floor prices? How's that doing?
I have not looked in a while. I tried selling my I actually hit a really good Gen 1. Uncommon Thief with a Dark Knight sub with 2 advanced abilities.
Oh, I like that.
I'm looking at 130, 135.
Okay.
For 10 out, those are Seers. Both those.
But yeah, I tried selling that Thief for 2100 crystal.
I'll take some color there on a Legionnaire.
How'd that go?
Hasn't sold yet.
No, for 2100. Maybe if you lower it to just 2000 crystal, maybe that'll.
Maybe I'll go 1950 and get crazy.
As Matty says,
Get it under those common numbers.
Thresholds 1999. Is that what I should do?
Yeah.
Ooh, this one's feeling purple.
All right.
Wizard Priest.
Wizard Priest.
Fisher.
Blue Wiz.
Blue Wiz.
Green
Intelligence.
Hedgehog hairstyle.
Hedgehog.
With double headstrong. Like, is that like make the hedgehog even better?
Yeah, I would imagine. There's some synergy there.
All right, last one.
Guy, you said you got one?
I got one.
All right.
This one's going to be purple.
I can feel it.
You guys can both feel it. So
at the same time.
Mm-hmm. Here we go.
Here we go.
An archer?
Is that a bard?
That's an
No,
archer.
it's an archer.
Archer.
Sick.
Let's see the yeah. Oh.
Miner's not bad because you can at least go for a DK
Miners are always bad.
Yeah.
when there's nothing left to mine anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's
just consolidated.
Did you just get a new crystal, or is that do you have one more, or is this
It's
my
your
screen
screen.
now?
I flipped it over. Yeah.
What just happened?
The last AMA there was a question about mining, and he said that potentially they're going to be shifting into
Ores.
mining new items, and they said ore potentially. I'm assuming ore will be used in some sort of crafting thing. So
it does kind of confirm there's going to be new levels of items for crafting. I think that was already established.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think they've kind of hinted at that. I think that was a nice little. Oh, something went wrong.
So I'm hoping for a spellbow.
Ooh, this is a
spellbow attempt with Giant Slayer.
You got to refresh. Something went wrong.
And it's probably already in my wallet.
No.
Is it gone?
I would
Did
just
it go
refresh.
to the ether?
No, I think it went. I think it's still. It didn't go through.
Because my summon.
Yeah, it didn't happen. Yeah, the transaction didn't go through.
Yeah, but it makes sense because like when I summoned, the crystal was formed, so it makes sense that my bard only has 4 summons left.
There you go.
But yeah, hoping for a spellbow Giant Slayer here.
That'd be very nice.
And that is a
Shapeshifter.
shapeshifter.
Yeah. Still shapeshifter. Ooh, all right, uncommon.
Archer. Forager. Take
That's
that.
good.
All
Ooh,
right, leadership stayed, so that's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
Now what happened?
Ooh.
So my bard month.
Oh, not bad for a dark summon.
one.
Another dark summon.
Could throw it in the pit right now.
Yeah.
Why would I do that with 4 summons?
Yeah, with 4.
That's something Matty would do.
Because we're on a pocket.
Again, they gotta get down to like 2 for me to burn them.
So I know we're already approaching an hour. So
Yeah.
Are we?
Yes,
pivoting?
we're moving on. Yes, we're moving on to Dragon's Crossing. And we needed you for this. We didn't know. What is the official end time? It ends
I wanna say
tomorrow.
it's August 3rd.
You're wrong. I found out. Shout out Bob Nothing. Tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern.
8 p.m. Okay.
That's like basically August
And
3rd.
Shout out Bob Nothing again, because he's apparently in first place right now.
Yeah, I think I knew that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I got the standings here. So we have Bob in first, Crypto Grady, yeah, baby in second.
Nice.
I know Kung Fu, awesome channel on Dragon's Crossing.
Yeah.
Follow him for some serious alpha in third. Gatrano, who is a mod and is very cool in fourth. Doctorus, last year's winner or last season's winner.
Yeah.
In fifth. Professor, who is a DFK OG in sixth. Fitz, who was in the top 10 last time. I don't know who that is, but he was in the top 10.
Interesting.
Then Tad, who we all know very well.
Yep.
Alan Bunning, who I know from Twitter.
Nice.
He's a DFK guy. And then Voidy, who is pretty big in the DCX community. So all common known names in top 10. Shout out to all of them, but
congrats.
Especially shout out to our boy Bob.
Yeah, that's
First
awesome.
Place.
I mean, we should obviously. There's still 24 hours ish, a little less. But yeah, that's
iOS code pulled the shard today, so shout out to him too.
Excellent, yeah. How did do you want me to start? I was gonna say, how did you guys finish?
You start.
All right, mine was crazy impressive. My third guy so my Rift hero finished at like 290 is the spot he's in right now. He beat Abandon.
He beat what?
What's his name? Abaddon.
Did you think his name was Abandon?
That's what I've been saying in my head.
All right.
I feel like Abandon is a cool name.
Yeah, roll with it. I love that for you.
And he found a skill book, and then another guy found a skill. So I found 2 skill books. I finished with 2 of my heroes. One of them is like 300, and the other guy's like 500 something, insane like that. Because he was like level 20, and I just barely won with him.
Mm-hmm.
And then my third guy, he hasn't even unlocked the mini boss on the zone 5. He's died 4 times.
Jesus.
You sound like you die a lot. Well,
I do, yeah. So actually, that's something I want to talk about.
Rule number 1: #don't die.
I know. I want to hear from the crowd. So my wizard, she died 3 times and beat Abandon. I'm curious on what is the most amount of deaths with beating the big boss. I'm sure there's some other 3 deaths, maybe some 4s, but I am curious to see what the highest amount is.
I feel like Jazz Crypto, who runs, I don't know if we've plugged this before.
Right, he has a site.
It's
Isn't that the site I was on?
Dragon's Watch, I think is what it's called.
Dragon Watch. I think
Dragon Watch.
But he could probably crunch those numbers.
Yeah. So 2 finished. And I'm in the middle of the pack, if not the end of the pack for the leaderboards. And then 2 skill books. That's how I ended with my 3 heroes.
Nice.
Yeah. When 8 deaths totaled. I don't know, actually. I'm hanging on to them for right now, but I haven't assigned them. So
I actually have a level 15 I could reveal.
That'd be fun.
Pulled it yesterday.
But wait, give me final stats for you guys.
So I am going to I have beat the boss with 3 out of 6 so far.
Nice.
I'm planning on beating it with a 4th tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
And 2 were just crap. Didn't do well. Not near the top 10. So yeah, bit of a letdown. I have some thoughts once we get through this.
Any shards or skill books?
Yeah, I pulled the shard.
Nice.
What are shards going for though? Like $10?
I haven't looked. Yeah.
And skill books here and there.
All right, Guy.
I did okay. My ranger that I thought was going to be my top hero still finished top 100. So
okay.
That's solid. The hero that ended up being the best, I thought would be the worst, which was my first warrior. My warrior finished 20th.
Oh, wow.
So I ended up buying a couple skills, and that made a huge difference because I actually beat the boss like fairly easily at level 17 on I think the second attempt. Nice. So at 292, I made a couple stupid mistakes on this warrior too. I don't want to say easily, but I do feel easily I could have been at 285.
Oh, wow.
There were a couple things in the last zone that I bounced back and forth between zones when I probably didn't need to. And that's a 2 quest, if not a 4 quest mistake. Right
the Adventuring Guild is so tough being in zone 3. That hurts. I feel like at the end.
Can I take the floor? Because what Guy said kind of rolls into my point. The idea of 1 or 2 quests really mattering. And I'm competitive, so I don't want this to come off as me being bitter because I didn't do as well this season as last. There's a little bit of that. I'll admit, I am very competitive. But I felt like they took a step back this season. I felt that the NPCs were a lot more RNG and added a lot of more rarity, where there's RNG in this game inherently inside of the battle. But when the RNG starts expanding into the kind of second part of the game, which is the amount of quests, there's a fly in my face, sorry. Amount of quests and kind of the strategy of moving around the board. I thought that, and Tad's beat me to it. Oh no, I thought they said no rest. But the other thing, the no heal meta, or the elimination of the no heal meta, I didn't like it all. I think that it added a lot of stress. So to me, they saw an issue with people kind of stopping their quest day halfway through, right? And saying around 7 or 8 quests, like, oh, I'm good for the day. I never have to heal because, hey, I have 30 days to do this season. We've seen it only takes 19, 20 days, whatever it is. To me, the answer was not, hey, we're going to make you use all 15 of your quests. The answer was to shorten the season by 5-6 days.
Yes.
It's a strategic play, not healing. Make it a tougher decision. Don't eliminate that strategic kind of decision altogether, right?
Do you
get
think
down to the point? Yeah, go ahead.
Do you think maybe using different incentives of, going back to the original way it was formed, but if you do use all 15, you get something. I don't know what it would be, but like a different sort of incentive where like there was a choice you had to make in terms of like finishing the quest for that day or not,
Yeah, I think that there were a lot of situations with my 6 heroes at least where you get down to the end and there was no strategy. It was just, all right, I have 3 quests left. I have to I'll heal here and then play one more. There were never 2 options that I was deciding between. It was more, I was just like, shit, this is what I have to do. Or you have 1 left and you have 20 health and it's like, well, I can't do anything with this quest. Like, what am I going to do? Maybe I could switch if I'm, maybe I can go ahead of zone, back of zone, but there aren't too many situations where that's actually, worth it.
Well, I would say,
I don't know.
This did happen. It only happened to me once, but I thought it was interesting, and it's going back to my earlier complaint about the last time. So the last Adventurers Guild is in Zone 3, and so if you're in the final zone and you need to level up, that's annoying to have to go back. So I think there was one time where I had like 3 quests, and I spent them just going back there, and so then first quest the next day was leveling up and then moving back. So I didn't have to do that on the next day. You follow what I mean?
Yeah. There are situations, but. Especially when like you're low on quests and you run to the Sphinx, right? And with the Sphinx, I found that even when you choose the lesser option, you're losing 20% of your health a good amount of the time. It just, to me, it led to a lot more situations where your path has already been drawn out for you. It's like, all right, well, and I've seen JB, the game director, the Hubert of DCX, I've seen him kind of say like, hey, that's the point of the game. Sometimes good things happen, sometimes bad things happen. And I get that, and I understand that RNG, but like, if we're looking to build a competitive game, that should be limited a bit.
Correct. RNG should be a factor, but it should be a minority factor, not the majority.
Yeah, what did Mellow Green Giant say?
He was saying he agrees with you. He just thinks there's some shortening the season might have some negative consequences too, but he agrees with your general kind of idea of the season.
Yeah, and to be clear, like, I don't want to come out here and say like, oh, fuck this game, I'm out.
No,
like,
no,
that's not what I'm saying.
No, I don't think
I think it took a step back. I'm still very invested in it, both financially and just emotionally. What else was I gonna say there? Oh, also there was a post made in the general chat that I stumbled upon the other day. Someone who was leaving the game and kind of complaining about the way that loot dropped. The way that you can go so long without getting a certain type of weapon for your class and things like that. And the answer that was given was, well, you should use the blacksmith. And in my head, I'm thinking, to go all the way back to use the blacksmith, you're using, so if you're in the Dark Tower, it's 5 quests there, 5 quests back, right? Is that correct?
Wait, pause for 1 second and look at guys. It was 1. They both had 1 health.
I would have loved
I'm doing it for the content.
That was wild.
This hero has 80% armor mitigation too, and he still almost died. But
going back to what you're saying, I agree. Going back to the blacksmith in Zone 1 is brutal for
right. So the person that made this post, and I was looking for it just now, I couldn't find it. He was saying that he was a D&D fan. That's what drew him to the game. And the answer was like, all right, use the blacksmith if you can't find, if your RNG isn't good and you can't find that equipment. The blacksmith needs to be in almost every zone, or it needs to be everywhere that an adventuring guild is at least.
I agree.
Because, yeah, you get in some situations where even just having the blacksmith gear isn't great, but it's better than not having anything.
Yeah.
Well, especially with to your point about the RNG, like that chest. My ranger lost her boots to the chest.
Yeah, I didn't like that as an option.
Game.
I wasn't a fan of that either, but I think that's more. So I struggle with that, right? Because is it a bad mechanic, or does it just feel bad when it's bad?
No,
I like things that are negative.
I like negative effects too, but so what I chose was not open it and walk away, and I still lost my gear.
Yeah, I mean, I think was it like 80%, 20% on that one?
Is that what it is?
I think so. I'm not sure on that.
But I think even a little, there's literally nothing you can do for that. So even something like you're allowed to lock in one equipment item, right? Having that as an option would be nice to combat that a little bit. I think, especially, going back to your original comment of these NPCs, there's a lot of times it is completely out of your hands and just upends your game. Yeah, especially the guy where you arm wrestle,
gets him back, and it's a low chance, right?
But
I felt like I beat him a lot, but that's +5 quests, and that's what the NPCs, whatever we're calling them, didn't have last year. It didn't have such a macro effect, on your season as a whole. Now, at +5 quests can be the difference between, and especially without the no heal meta, I was looking at, I think when I was around finishing 278 was still the high score. I was around 260 or whatever it was, and it's it's gonna jump 15. So it's I either do it today or I have no shot. Whereas with the no heal, I can do a quest here, a quest there, and kind of strategically move up the board. I don't know, and this is the part that's going to sound a little bit like I'm just being a hater, sore loser, so just prepare yourselves for that. But if you look at the leaderboard, and shout out to Bob again for sending me all these numbers, Bob has 15 heroes, Crypto Grady has 44, I know Kung Fu has 23, Gaitrano only has 7, Doctorus has 12, Professor has 14, right? So when you have this RNG, such a strong RNG, I mean,
the whales can handle it.
Using Grady as an example of 44, not to pick on him.
Yeah.
The chances are he's going to have one track that just goes well throughout.
Well, the whales can
handle him. I'm sure he was switching equipment around. I know how much he likes to do that. So there were decisions being made there. But last season felt more pure.
One way to combat RNG is just to beat the odds with more heroes, and that's where you get into territory that's a scary thing, which I think nobody wants, which is pay to win. That people don't want that. Nobody wants that, and that's it is an interesting thing here. And I don't think those were the same numbers last season, right? In terms of hero ownership, I bet last season it was less for those top 10.
I mean, I don't know, so I don't even want to comment. Bob's talking about that same post. Use the blacksmith's a bad answer, but the post criticism where devs were failing to be a good game master. Is that GM stands for there?
Yeah.
Yeah. Make sure everybody has a good PvE experience. This is fundamentally wrong. And agreed. He goes on to say this is set up like a poker game. Devs are just dealer. Agree with that aspect of it, but I like the idea more of more loot drops, not NFT drops. I'm not sitting here trying to say oh, I need more NFTs, I should be making more money playing this. But the actual swords and stuff, it's a season shouldn't be decided based on you getting a good sword and me not getting a good sword, and that's a very high level example.
They did talk about having a trade in your equipment system that they want to add, but they want to add that. Which might, but that might help if you get shit items, it'll give you a path to potentially help you on that. So,
but you're getting more quests, and that's not helping you towards the final goal, right? I took 5 days off in the middle of the month here, just didn't play, and I still finished with time to spare, right? So getting those extra quests doesn't really help you.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Getting tile unlocks would be cool.
Tile
that's an issue
that's
somewhere.
what screwed me with
it. Yeah.
It's just when we're all kind of recounting our seasons, the things that screwed us, quote unquote, it all seems to be like RNG related, and I feel like that's not a good path to kind of continue down. But they have the premise for something really great here.
No, it's super cool. I think I would like if it was a standard, like when you get to a new zone, if you do 5 quests, it unlocks the next tile. If you do another 5, you know what I mean? I think that would be nice rather than like the random.
I would like mini bosses.
I actually didn't mind the RNG of the tile unlocks, but adding some kind of perk related to that, I do think would be cool.
How about mini bosses? Unlock tiles with these mini bosses that are slightly harder than the monsters that you get, normally.
So
but
like
not much harder.
So basically, like the last zone, but
the
for every zone,
demon,
every zone has that kind of mini boss like the last one does. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's interesting with the dailies, because that's sort of what the daily is to some degree, even though it doesn't unlock any tiles, but it's sort of like the mini boss for that zone.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if this is what you're saying, but you've also said it in past podcasts too, of giving us a different paths to choose from.
Right. Yeah.
And they did talk about that in the AMA.
Yeah.
And one of those paths is a mini boss rather than continuing to do the daily quest or the regular quest.
Or just like one might be harder creeps, but a shorter like tile
shorter path.
Less tiles to discover, things like that.
Yeah.
But
you could even do it within zone, like what you're saying too, of if you fight the mini boss, it's gonna be like the equivalent of like a daily quest. Mm-hmm. But the next time, if you beat the mini boss, it's guaranteed to unlock a next tile for your next turn.
Yeah.
Like something like that.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. I'm excited for season 3. It's going to be a new map, I believe.
Oh,
really?
Yeah. The fact that you guys were both so surprised by that is making me think I'm wrong. But no, I'm pretty confident on that.
I've enjoyed the game. I've played it every single day, but I have not listened to a single AMA.
Mm-hmm. Bob saying the hero that won didn't get any help from other heroes. So yeah, nice. I mean, it's and Tad saying here, I think it's an RNG based game. We just got to live with the fact that it's an immense game, and like, hey, that's the fact too. Well, like, I didn't dislike playing the season. I still had fun playing it every day. I just, as you're getting towards the end, and again, a little bit's just the competitiveness of like, fuck, I wanted to win. But it makes you start thinking about ways it could be better.
New strategy. Oh, here we go. I hate this guy. I hate this guy so much. Do you want to go back? No.
Why not?
I hope he sends you.
All my guys are level 20. So I rolled a 2. Is that good or bad? Do we know?
It's good. It's a high numbers.
I believe 17 to 20.
I think it's 16 plus. Yeah.
I also love that his language there. He's just like, okay, have a good day. Like, I have no more wisdom to impart here. Should I open my spell book?
Yeah, let's see it.
Are you still questing?
Well, actually,
I don't think I have any.
I think my guys still need more time.
Nice ice tome here.
Yeah, feel free to take it from me.
Still needs.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. What do you want here? What are your hopes?
I'd like, Hasty Wish, Ice Tome.
Are those selling high right now? I have an Ice Tome.
I would teach both of them.
Oh. I feel like the level 15s it's tough.
I feel like the only, and that's the other thing, so not to nitpick too much, I think that the skill changes were positive, but I think they're still relatively unnecessary until you get towards the end. Are they shaving off quests here and there? Probably, yes. Like, I was using them. But
my hero that finished 20th had heal, and that saved me a lot of herbalist trips.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. What class?
Warrior.
Oh man, interesting.
So second one build. Were you building for wisdom?
Armor mitigation plus a heal can really save a lot in the long term. What were you saying though?
Were you building for Wiz?
Yes.
Okay.
Interesting.
My warrior has 34 wisdom.
Whoa. I guess if that's what you've been from the jump, you did that.
Yeah,
right?
well, so like I still did 2 strength, and then
right. Yeah.
I would split the balances between quickness.
Oh, adhesive application. That's a good one.
Interesting. That's a good one. I think.
Reduce monster difficulty hit by strength plus agility divided by 1.5% for 2 rounds. Reduce monster dodge by wisdom times 2% for 3 rounds. Okay. I would probably teach that to, so
it's a
I've been
right
doing,
there.
well, yeah, I mean, it's a ranger skill. But no, I've been doing wisdom builds for sly evasion.
Yeah.
All of these for sale as well. Let me know. Fireball, haven't taught it yet.
So what's Bob saying about no bid for heroes or skills right now?
Like on OpenSea?
That's what I'm trying to check out.
I haven't checked it, but that sounds right.
There's tons of, well, not tons, but
bid, meaning no one's buying. What are we at dollar value for a skill? Like $5?
I can peek.
The good ones, like I looked the other day. I was like, oh fuck, I forget what skill it was that I wanted to add. But it was like $50.
How do you feel about number of heroes you ran for the season? Did you have enough? Did you have too many? Was questing a chore?
So I told you guys I was doing the spreadsheet. I did it successfully for about first 15 days.
It's impressive.
It was just so fucking annoying to keep doing it. I had such a better time playing
without
afterwards because it just took so long. I'm writing every little thing. Like I definitely saw some trends early on. I will not be doing it again. It was not fun, and I think it kind of changed the way I played. So yeah. But I had 6. That to answer the question, I had 6 heroes. After I stopped recording everything, I thought that was fine. I probably could have played 8. But I don't.
I had, like I said, I had my 3. I'm probably gonna run all 3 of them. Halfway through the season when I was dying a lot, I'm like, I gotta sell these guys and not do it. But now I'm like, I don't think they'll sell for much. So I'm like, I'll just keep playing and maybe get lucky, you know.
I have 4, and later in the season, I was like, part of me wishes I only had 3. There were days that 4 felt like too much.
When you have a busy day,
you can just skip a day. And I didn't skip a single day. I should have just, like, my busy days, I should have just skipped.
I feel like I want to pull up my my tracker here.
Oh, come on.
People want to see my highly detailed tracker? So we can look at mine, and then you can jump over to Franz. But I literally just looked at my levels by day. That's all.
Well, so level tracking I might do. This was it. So
yeah, you're crazy.
And then days. I don't think you can make out the gray versus the white, but I did like gray highlight for every other day.
Right, I can see what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah, but every single thing. But the level tracking actually, I liked a lot.
That seems a little bit simpler and
yeah, no, that's
easier.
fine. And you just remember what you did. I mean, you could also see what you did based on just looking
what
at your
they're
stats.
at right now.
Like, well, wisdom's at 20. I was probably doing wisdom, you know?
Yeah.
So the level tracking I did was based on my day, based on my quests used, what level are my heroes at? So I could see very quickly, is a hero trending above pace or behind pace relative to my other heroes?
Oh, that's good.
But so when does the amount of experience change? Is that uniform? Like required?
I think there's a small change.
Okay.
What was the question?
So like level 1, I think it's 8 experience to level up.
Yeah, it goes up. It's not by 1 every time.
It's like every 5 years or something, right?
But you could quickly, whatever that is, once you know what that is, you could figure out like they're on pace or not on pace based on how many quests.
So I intentionally had 3 heroes that started right off the bat, and then a Rift hero I started like 5 or 6 days later.
Right.
And the Rift hero, my goal was to have that be like my front running hero.
Yeah, I mean that's what mine was. Yeah.
He died day 2. And it was funny because like I felt like after that, like that was like an 8 quest mistake or something like that, getting all the gear and like having the quest that I lost from the day that I died. And it felt like I was making up pace, but looking at my tracker, it was like I was always a full level behind, even like 10, 15 days in, which was interesting to see.
So the death wasn't that dramatic, or
yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't think anyone in the chat.
It also depends if you die early in the day or
right.
not.
Yeah.
You know, if you're losing 14 quests or
on day 2, you don't have that many items.
Right. But you can't.
You have to buy new.
And, I still had to buy.
Right, but like what I'm saying is like day 2, you die on your first quest, right? You're losing 14 quests plus say
whatever
4 at the blacksmith.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 4 or 6.
So you're losing now 18 quests, whereas opposed to you die at the end of your day, you're now losing 4 or 5 quests.
Yeah,
it's a big difference.
See, I think I also similar guy. My 2 Genesis ones, I went first, and then the Rift one was like 2 or 3 days afterwards, and it died on day 1 as well. But I had been storing some stuff from the original 2 heroes, and I think that helped the Rift hero recover from that death, like, and then it was just hit the ground running after that. So I think, I mean, it's fun. I'm gonna play it again. I'm excited.
Oh, I have a giveaway.
Wait, what?
Wait, what?
Yeah, sorry.
You giving away a green egg?
No, a hero. 10 out of 10.
One we just saw.
No. Sorry, I didn't mean to break into it like that. I just remembered.
It's all good.
Sir Worm, shout out Sir Worm. I think he's left us at this point. He started the stream with us. He did a giveaway for everyone that like commented on Yahoo for his last video, and I was one of the people who did, and so I won a hero. So I said to him, like, thank you very much, but cool if I re-gift this or re-raffle this. So everybody who wants to be involved, say something. What should they say?
Share your favorite color in chat.
Okay. I like it. And I'll pull up the hero in the meantime. 204620.
Wait, but is it Crystal?
Sarandel. New Sarandel.
Whatever. Yeah. We
don't have any colors yet, so. All right, our first color's in.
Is nice a color?
He's the only person that's spoken since we said it. All right, Matty's going with green. Is that really aren't you colorblind?
I am colorblind.
Not see green?
I can see green.
Sorry if that's too much doxing.
No, I I've said I'm colorblind. I am colorblind. I still see color, and green is my favorite color.
I thought you can't see green and red.
No, it's when shades of green and red are near each other, they blend, and I cannot tell the difference when they're next to each other.
Turn into like a purple?
No, it's like it'll just be one of them, either one of them, and it'll be the whole thing. That's why those you've seen those number things.
I don't mean to make fun of disabilities. I'm sorry.
Like the dots, like where it has the number in it. You ever seen those? Like the test, like are you colorblind tests, like with all the dots.
Yes,
you've definitely seen them.
Yes, I have.
What ends up happening is that all the dots look like a similar of one of the shades, and I can't tell the numbers in them.
So like day to day.
It's not a big deal. Well, a little bit is clothes, because sometimes I can't tell if the clothes are like.
You wear some goofy outfits, and you're like, "What do you mean? This looks fine."
Exactly. Yeah, that's the only day-to-day real problem.
All right, I think I got him. All right, I'm gonna.
What's the ID? I can pull it up too.
I could just. I'll share it.
Oh, Worm's back.
Oh, I really hope he wins it back. We're putting him in the raffle. Me and him are just gonna pass this hero back and forth. And also, I didn't mention it, and we have no way of checking. Go subscribe to Sir Worm's channel. Can we drop that link?
Yeah, I'll find it.
If you win the hero and you're not subscribed, you're kind of an asshole.
You lose. You actually lose.
Again, we have no way to know, but you're just kind of a jerk if that happens. All right, I'm going to the wheel names.
I kind of
Window. There we go.
Yeah, but Worm, your name's going in regardless.
Oh yeah.
Sorry, not sorry.
All right, who else we got? Chris
Shoes.
Smith.
Wagney.
Matty.
No, Wagney.
No, Matty said
He's
green.
laughing. Yeah.
No.
Bogside intern.
Why
Shoes
can I
my
not-
girlfriend wears. AA free.
Oh, I want the color.
Everyone, a lot of names I've never seen before starting to chime in now that we're talking giveaway.
Oh,
What
that's,
are the odds
normal.
that Shoes My Girlfriend Wears and AA Free are the same person?
Hey, we have no way to know.
it's impossible to know.
Do we have any stories we want to share before?
I already
Do we need to
talked
stall
about.
it all for more names?
I
Seems
mean-
like Tad is intentionally staying quiet. iOS Code and Bob as well.
They probably left, to be honest.
I'm trying to figure out if we can figure out the other people on Starbuck.
What else did we have to talk about?
Starbuck.
That was it. We
What's your
covered
favorite
all the DFK and the Dragon's Crossing stuff that we had on our agenda.
I feel like I had something else I want to say. Yeah.
What else are you selling on the bazaar? Someone go buy my bloaters.
Nothing on the
No
bazaar.
one's buying your bloaters for a jewel of bloater. That's insane. That's insane.
Oh, can I rant about Tilt Proof Tuesday?
Sure.
Can we just cut the crap on that?
Yeah.
They're giving away like 70 total mokshas, which it's not nothing,
No.
but it's also like total. If we're talking real US dollar value, what, like $15?
Yeah, it's not much.
Like, I'm not sitting here like it's free, right? So I'm not here trying to look a gift horse in the mouth. Is that the expression?
Well, also it's 10 winners, so times 10. But
No,
still.
it's seven each times 10. I said 70.
Oh, you did? Oh, I wasn't listening.
No, I was ready for this rant. But like, I'm not. It's great they're giving something away, but it's like maybe just don't do it all. I wish there were a way they can make it only for new players, right?
Yes.
Right.
Because they're definitely like I still click on it most weeks. I don't need that.
And that's the problem with Web3 of like someone can just go create a new wallet. And there's no way of like preventing that.
Well, the Discord,
Discord, and it's hard.
You have to be like a true hero or whatever to do it on Discord.
Right. But it's in order to be a true hero, you can't be a new player.
Right.
That's a good
So
point.
it's like counterintuitive to that.
I'm saying it should only be for non-true heroes, but then you have Bob.
Then yeah.
All right, we're throwing Bob in there.
Throw Bob in there, yeah.
No, fuck him. He's winning DCX. He's gonna get plenty of money. He doesn't need this 10. Sorry, Bob.
Bob, you're out. No, I think that's fair, but also, I mean, like, also something I think they should do is like they had cool side quest things that gave away like real prizes. Like you remember the
little stories,
the written stories that we won. It was like I mean, granted, Jewel was like $10 then, so it was
$500.
But we won $500 for that, and like, but we had to actually put effort in and do something.
But did we sell?
No, obviously not.
No,
but that idea, like that was cool. And I think they should do stuff like that again. Of like they did like some cool ones, like the come up with a recipe of like food, cool. Or like the song ones or memes and stuff like that. Like I like when it's more involved.
I'm still bitter that my monk meme didn't win.
Your monk meme was mediocre.
Awesome.
It was mediocre.
I gotta find it.
I liked it. All I know is I won 500 Jewel or 500 Jewel.
There was 500 USD.
No, it was 500 Jewel when it was $1.
Oh, and there we go.
I wrote a short story about Tom the Fisher.
Yeah, that was excellent.
Going across
the
Crystal Vale and like going through withdrawals while on the boat.
Yeah, because he was a drunkard. Because
he's an alcoholic. He's got the bottle near him. It was great.
That was a great story, and that was like a fun. I feel like that do it. I feel like those are more fun than these like just click on a thing for like a dumb little 7 mokushas. I don't know. Franz keeps it. Oh man!
All right, here we go.
I hope Franz keeps it wins. Also, is my name on green? I hope I got a green entry.
Keep going.
All right, this has been an episode of Bogside Chats. For Franz and Guy Kid, my name is Matty Pesk. We'll see you guys next week.
See you, losers. I win.